Good morning. I'm your host, Curtis Killings. Here with me, I have
Andre Miller.
and welcome to Sports Corners. Coming up on later on today's segment, we have a viewer's look on who do you guys think should win the 2014 MVP between Kevin Durant and four-time MVP LeBron James. Right now, we're into our first take into this month, and from the look that I'm getting from Andre, it seems to be like a lot of madness going on. Andre, take us to our latest update on NCAA men basketball.
All right. First, we have Florida, Wichita State, and Arizona at the top three teams in Associated Press for the second straight week. Duke, who moved up to the 2 spot to 4, with William, Virginia, which won the first outreach ACC title since 1981. Which five teams do you guys expect to make it down to the last final 4 spots in the tournament?
Well, starting at the number 4 seed, we have Coach K and the Duke Blue Devils, who are 26-3 right now. However, I think a lot of changes are going to occur in the ACC. As you said, the Virginia Cavaliers are sitting behind at the number 5 spot. Early this season, they squashed the Blue Devils. They just went ahead and just dismantled them guys, and that helped push them into the 5th seed. And I just feel as if the Blue Devils, they're just facing a lot of heat, and they took a loss early in this season, so that's going to help the Virginia, who found some offense this season. So that's going to help move Virginia this past weekend, defeating the number 7 Syracuse by a 19-point deficit. So that's going to help move Virginia, who found some offense this past weekend. So, as well as them being at the number 4 spot, you had the number 3 Arizona, who clinched the Pac-12 this regular season by thumping Stanford to keep its record perfect at the McKell Center, losing 2 games only on the road, with the win player and with one of the best players in the country named Aaron Gordon. He posted his 8th double-double, standing on the nose seed, and standing at the number 1 seed. We have the Florida Gators. They haven't lost since December, and they appear to to have the whole division on lock. And they earned 4 coveted number 1 seeds. They finished their season this Saturday by hosting the Kentucky Wildcats.
Okay, as most college basketball fans believe, storming the court is fun. Storming the court often is enough to get on television. This more is less is why anyone, anywhere storm the court. It is harmless, it devoid true meaning. However, coming off a 62-6 to 61 overtime loss, New Mexico State guard Casey Ross Miller cocked his arm back and spiked the ball off the leg of a Utah Valley's guard, Austin Undertaker, as the time expires. As the tension erupted, immediately fans entered the playing surface. Players took swings, fans shoved Aggie player, and the peacekeeper desperately entered the mall to pull everyone out of harm's way. So, gentlemen, what do you think storming the court be banned in basketball?
Well, like in the wake of a regrettable table fight that occurred at the end of this New Mexico State game at Utah Valley State this past Thursday, people are coming to finally understand what I've been arguing. The whole argument about court storm. I feel as they're bad and it needs to be stopped. I mean, you don't need a genius to figure this out. That we already been in several tense exchanges already this season that between fans storming the courts. As for one, Kentucky guard Aaron Harrison, he had momentarily squared off with the fan after losing to Arkansas this January. Likewise, shortly after Oklahoma State guard Marcus Smart had shoved the fan in the waning seconds of his team's loss at Texas Tech, he had a hard time finding his way to off the courts as he was rushed. As the fans rushed and they celebrated after Texas Tech won. If it wasn't for the vigilance of an Oklahoma assistant coach who ushered, Smart off the floor, it could have been an ugly incident out there. It could have got much worse. And besides it being unsafe, court storms, they can like somewhat interface, the way games are administered. How do you feel about court storming?
Look, I feel that storming the court, it brings excitement to the fans as far as being part of the win of their favorite team, most likely. And it brings excitement to the player also. It's like when you make a game-winning shot.
Exactly.
And, you know, you like the intensity of your fans coming on, celebrating with you. But at the same time, I feel that officers should be on duty. So when anything does happen on the court, they'll be able to situate the situation. But most likely, I feel that they shouldn't. I don't think that they should ban it. But at the same time, it may be harm to the players or sometimes fans that, you know, like in history, like it was players that fought that fans and fans at the same time, you know. So it's like it's out of their control. But at the same time, I feel that officers should be on standby and still at the same time.
So like, even with security being provided around for like the after the games and stuff, so are you for it more for just security to be there and allow the students to still like rush the floors, or to me, I just think it's just, you know, they don't do it in the NBA. They don't let those fans who play, you know, big bucks and they paying big tickets. These are just some students, you know. A lot of us students, you know, you're in your party mode, you're in your party ages, and I feel as if a lot of alcohol is being consumed at the games, and once the alcohol gets kicking in, emotions and run, you don't know how anyone's feeling. You know, these guys, they're still players at the end of the day. They get real emotional. So coming out the loss, I wouldn't want, you know, as an example for March Madness.
Yeah,
I don't want no fan running into my face.
I understand where your point on that, because at the same time, I was going as far as the winning team, but at the same time, the losing team, I feel that, yeah, it would be kind of hurt to have everybody run off. Then it may be a little shove or two that you lost probably a big game. So I do understand. So I believe, I still don't think it should be banned, but at the same time, I feel that they should at least hold it for the opponent team who lost to get off the court.
Well, we're just going to have to see what the NCAA officials, you know, do about ruling, you know, if the court storming should be banned. But, you know, we have more NCAA men's basketball rankings that's in the Final Four predictions, you know, and it seems as besides a lot of player animosity and March Madness questions on the court storming, you know, it has migrated towards, you know, the field and into the NFL, you know, because allegedly, you know, we've heard of them trying to ban a provocative term as a few of our own football players had, you know, if so, the N-word should be allowed to be used on the field during play. And let's just take a look at some of our own football players and what they had to say about, you know, this word being used. So we got allegations going around the NFL right now of them trying to ban the N-word. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's a very derogatory word. I mean, but it's still going to be used either way it goes. I mean, you can't stop somebody from saying what they want to say.
I think that should be, you know, enforced a lot, because a lot of people shouldn't be using that word. I try not to use that word a lot too, you know, because that word is just a symbol of just bad things.
Kind of, sort of. They make it a little bigger thing than what it is, but it's not really that serious. But it won't hurt anybody from banning it or not. I don't think it'll mess up anything at all.
It's, you know, that all our players, you know, who gave us an insight on how they feel. But, you know, you played on the field yourself right here at Bethune-Cookman University, you know. So how do you feel about the N-word being used? And should it be banned, you know, into the league? And should players be fined and penalized for using that word?
Okay, let's be honest and straightforward here. We all know the game is a sport where a lot of challenges and a lot of intensity and competition, when most players, you know, they have something to prove. I'm not against the word being used and not for it, but we all have to look at the big picture. If the league's going to fine players for using the word, then I believe all cuss words should be banned. I believe the media is just blowing up the topic for a reason, because the last time I heard it's freedom of speech. And the sport period is an environment where the player is being physical, and it's somewhat, you have to be that danger to your opponent. I don't believe the N-word should be used just in any tone, because sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. But at the end of the day, on the field, it's a lot of trash talking, and I feel the sport today is being a little too petty and the new rules coming out today. But if they fine players for using the N-word, I do believe that it'll be less than the N-words. For it'll be less N-words being used, and in that case, really sometimes people don't care hearing the word, but it's saying the word is how the person may say it. So like some people may not even care about who said the word, but who said and how they said it.
Well, me personally, like, it's a saying as if, what mama don't hurt, what mama don't know won't hurt her. And I feel as though on the field, it's a lot of things being said, it's a lot of things being done, a lot of things under those big guys, under those pals. And, if you don't get caught saying it, I know we use it in today's culture a lot. We hear it in our songs, we hear it talking towards each other, interviews. The word is being used, and somewhat down the line of history, it is effective, and it does play very provocative in some way. But me personally, if they get caught, saying the word, penalize them, throw a flag, unsportsmanlike, 15 yards up the field. But I think, the league is really getting tough on these fines on these guys. For one, these guys, they had to, on the defensive side, they had to change the way that they tackle.
Yeah.
Then you had to change the way on the offensive side of the ball, using the head with the spear. You can't truck guys using your head anymore. They want you to use more of the shoulder and the arm. So it's a lot being implemented on these rules. And it seems like sources is telling us that every week that these guys are getting fined and penalized. So to take the emotion and aggression out the game, that's just making it, to me, I personally feel like it's just making the game even a little more,
soft.
I want to say soft. Soft. But just all around, like I say, if the ref catches hearing it, let them penalize for it. If not, then hey, let them just go ahead. But just more news around the NFL league, as I was saying that they're implementing more. The NFL is looking to get rid of the extra point, also known as the field goal. So now the ball will be placed onto the 25-yard line on extra points, and instead of the 2-yard lines. Do you feel the league officials should implement this rule?
Should they implement the rule? Well, the NFL is looking to get rid of the extra point, as we can see. So the ball will be placed on the 25-yard line, the extra point, instead of the 2-yard line. Extra point will be 43-yard kick instead of the 20-yard kick. Well, I feel the challenge is the kicker more, because we all know a team with an average kicker or a poor kicker can make a kick on the 2-yard line. So there will be a lot of game scenarios where kicking the extra point is the right choice. So if it's tied 25-25 with 1 minute left, clearly the choice is to kick the extra point. Same thing if you're down 24-25 in the fourth quarter. But most of the time, teams should go for the 2 if this rule is adopted, and that's a huge win for anyone who like competition in football. A lot of game-winning challenges are going to take effect, and teams may not know whether to kick or to go for the 2 in some situations.
Well, to me, personally, so right now they're saying about the football is going to be placed on the 2-yard line. So
that's what it is
from where the kicker, once after you score a touchdown, that's where they kick the ball at. To me personally, I just feel as if, hey, when the ball is a touchback, you started from the 20-yard line. To me, the kickers, they don't do it a lot on the field, but their job still plays effective. It's kind of, with angles, when the game is on the line, hey, it does play a fact. But I think it is going to also help the game by giving, the kicker, the amounts of money that they getting paid, and these guys, they last the longest in the league. So I just feel as if, hey, let them take it 25 yards, take it 25 yards back. Maybe we could just see some other great kickers, because we have like some of the kickers that's been in before we was born. Adam Vinatieri, Janikowski. A lot of these guys, these guys been around for ages, but they're professionals. Hey, they can knock a 25-yard field right down the middle of the post. But moving on into our last topic of the show, we shift back into the basketball world and the NBA, where we go coast to coast on the teams on today's topic of who's hot and who's not. I start with the West, but all you Los Angeles Lakers fans, yes, I'm getting ready to go on you. You guys are 20. What are you? We guys? I don't even know you guys' record. You guys are 20. What?
Calm down with the Lakers. I'm a Kobe fan.
You know, these guys here, they're 21. They're 21-4. You know, these teams, they haven't the last 10 games, they've only been 11-21 on the road. The last 10 games have been 3-7, and yeah, that other guy, he's also missing. No Kobe Bean Bryant. But don't feel any bad, Laker fans, because you know we're gonna take it back east. Not to Milwaukee, you know, who's 12 and what's that?
47.
47 in this last Eastern Conference. And we're not gonna take it to Philly. Not gonna take it to Philly because you know these guys, they're as well 17-7 in the last games. They only won 10 of their three out of their 7 games in the last 10 games after losing and you know actually getting embarrassed in front of retiring, you know, the pound for pound greatest player who came out of the Philadelphia 76ers, Allen Iverson. You know, congratulations on his retirement onto his jersey. You know, it's finally good to see that banner go up. But you know, I know you guys are probably asking, you know, isn't he from Orlando? Yeah, I know we suck. I'll say it again. Yeah, we suck. But hey, that's why we have 2 teams in Florida. Yeah. And one of those teams is, besides my team, is Orlando. I'm gonna let you take it in with the who's hot team on the East Coast.
Okay, with the East, I say the Clippers and the Heat. Both of them have less than 20 losses, and everybody else in the East Conference have more than 26 losses. So at the same time, I say those top teams, they're gonna go on to being in the finals. So it'll probably be the Clippers and the Heat, which we don't know who may win, who may lose. But on the West, I say OKC and San Antonio Spurs, because both of them, you know, OKC, we have KD, Kevin Durant, you know, he's proving his point. So I believe those 2 teams. And also we have, in the West, we have Houston Rockets in Portland, which Houston Rockets beat the Miami last night, which that was a tremendous win with LeBron. He couldn't finish, but at the same time, I know it's a lot of more basketball going forward, which, you know, I best of luck with those teams. And I say the East is really 2 top teams, and the West we have 4. So at the same time, we'll find out by the end of the season.
You know, that's pretty much, like you say, we have, you know, those 2 good teams in the East. As we see LeBron James, he came off a 61-point game the other night before, you know, they lost last night to the Houston Rockets. But, you know, this was just a tremendous performance by them. You know, as you see him come off the continuation, even got his own rebound. And, you know, his guy, he was just on fire. You know, he was 22 for 33 from the field. He made 8 of 8 with his three-point shots. And, you know, LeBron James, you know, he's going to go back into the top discussion. And why we're going coast to coast with is because his name is getting back there for what we're discussing with some of our viewers on who do you guys feel won the MVP race between LeBron James and Kevin Durant?
Look,
who do you feel is going to win the MVP at the end of the season?
LeBron James.
Right now, I think LeBron James. I think Kevin Durant had it for a while when he was on a hot streak, but since these last 7 games, I think LeBron took the lead again. I think he's going to win it.
I think Kevin Durant going to win it, man. You know, he leading the points, you know. I think he up there. He going to win.
Honestly, I don't know because it's tough because LeBron is kind of like an entertainer. Like, you know, he has some good games, and then some days he has some bad games. So it all depends on how he playing. But KD is an all-around player. Like, he going to serve it to you no matter what. Like, he consistent more. But, like, KD is more, not KD, but LeBron's more about a show. So, I don't know. It all depends. It all depends on how LeBron feeling. If he feeling like he did last night, then he going to come through. If he, you know, has some type of twitch with him, you know, he going to barely perform. So, if I had to pick with consistency, I'd be all about KD.
Okay, we have KD and the King. Okay, as we all know, LeBron James, he is a phenomenal player who shows his team spirit and drives to be the best player in the game today. But the war has been passed from Paul George to LeBron James to Kevin Durant in the first 3 months of the season. And as we've seen LeBron James in the past month of February played, and how his last game, well, not the last game, but one of his games was 61-point win over the Bobcats, showing that he really wants to become the MVP guy again. But that game doesn't boost James up because we all know the Bobcats is not that much of a challenging team, and that we still have a full quarter of season to go, and that the award is very much up for grabs. Through the first 2 months of the season, James had the upper hand on Durant, while Durant lead in 28.8 per game, and LeBron was operating average of 25.5 points. But when Westbrook went down right after Christmas Day, Durant went into a historic stretch basketball that turned each game into an appointment view, while LeBron elevated his game from the day after Christmas to the All-Star break with an impressive stretch of basketball with 28.1 points, 7.2 rebounds, 6.7 assists,
Right.
51% from the field. But Durant turned into a bounty hunter also, collecting his checks in each city. He averaged 35 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 65 assists while shooting 52.7% from the field. So basically, LeBron with more scoring. He's like LeBron with more scoring. Statistically, Kevin Durant should win MVP if we were to vote today. But we still have 20-plus games left. The reason behind is because Kevin Durant is more of a complete player. I barely seen a down game. He plays his game and plays it well. LeBron, just like Pretty says, LeBron is more of a media player. Plus, his team is the Heat, which they winning. All eyes go to LeBron statistically because he's the best player on the team. So, in my eyes, I do see LeBron winning MVP just because the team is better overall and they may go farther than OKC. But when we just compare both athletes, I give it to Kevin Durant.
That's interesting that you do give it to Kevin Durant because, I'm not taking anything as well from him as we just seen from that last game versus the Philadelphia 76ers. That's a bad boy there, man. Yeah. And he has the green light. But to me, I believe that it's going to come down to, the Batman and the Robin. And with the Batman and the Robin, these Kevin Durant and LeBron James, they are the Batman, but they have the Robins beside them. And obviously Russell Westbrook, he also has the green light to always go. He gets his team fired up. And, as well as on the Miami Heat side, we have Dwayne Wade. Mm-hmm. And with Dwayne Wade, with him returning last night, it took a fewer shots away from LeBron where he only had 22, still had a good game, came off kind of short off that three-point shot last night. But I feel as if this MVP race is going to come down to which of those Robin players is going to allow their Batman player to step to the pedestal and the things that where they set the standards with the Mount Rushmore talks and the whole want to be the greatness talks in between both of these guys, and it's just gonna come down to either Westbrook or Dwayne Wade onto who's win because the guys are both putting up averaging great points. LeBron James, as we just seen, as we noted earlier, he had 61 points. Kevin Durant, I believe, he had 42 and sat out the whole fourth quarter. They helped this team pull a win tonight. So it's going to be very tough, But I still think LeBron James, he can just, you want to ad lib and just say who you think really will. Because I
say both of these teams, they're kind of comparison because we have Kevin Durant, you have Westbrook, and those two teams, and you have the Heat. You have LeBron James and Wade, in which Wade, he's the little top scorer. He's just like Westbrook on the team. So I feel that it comes down to those two teams, and I really like to see those teams in the finals.
Well, we already seen them in the finals before that. Besides these four guys here, a new team has got it, but it still is going to come down, the Miami Heat just have that upper hand with that third guy down in the post, and that's Chris Bosh. He is the X factor. It's going to take.
You have many more. You have Beasley, who came from a good game last night. You have, you can go.
But like you say, they do have Beasley, and Miami, Allen. Ray Allen. They have the more depth. They're more in depth on the bench than OKC, and it still comes to your starting lineup, and where it needs to be stepping up is Serge Ibaka. That's why I feel the general managers and the guys in the big office. That's why they kept Serge Ibaka, because you cannot coach big. They just went ahead and gave gave James Harden, who I feel like is way better in the starting lineup with the Houston Rockets, as we seen last night, as he helped this team conquer the Miami Heat last night. But it comes down back to Serge Ibaka. You know, this guy, you know, he's a great guy. He's gotten better. His post shot has gotten better. He's averaging more points from the field. He's still the great defender of a shot blocker, one of the best shot blockers around the league. So we just need for him to get down and, you know, you got to face, you know, the Georgia Tech, you know, big center, 6'11", Chris Bosh. You know, he's able to score in and out the pocket, not the pocket, but in and out the perimeter. And he's also implemented that big three-point shot. So he's kind of hard to stop as a big man. And it's just gonna be very tough. You know, we're gonna get into the finals later on. But right now, for my MVP vote,
Kevin Durant.
5-time, 2-time, maybe 3-time MVP.
LeBron James.
I'm going with you, man. And, you know, that's going to conclude our show today. We know, spring break is coming up. A lot of spring breakers out there. I hope you guys, you know, have fun, but make sure you drive safe, wear your seatbelt, no drinking and driving. You know, until the following week, tune back in with us. I'm Curtis Killings, here with me.
And I'm Andre Miller.
And see you next week on Sports Corners.
Kevin Durant.